Hello viewers, thanks for choosing Property Focus, your window into the world of architecture, building construction and real estate. As a first-time real estate investor, land in Kenya can feel like a daunting process, yet it should be a joyful, hassle-free experience, given that by doing so, you get to own a share of the earth. In this episode, we want to look at how to buy land in a simple way that you and I can understand, stripped off the jargon and take it step by step. But first off, a project review of a service plot. But what is a service plot? Find out in a few as we walk you through with developer Naftali Mwangi, then due diligence process when buying land with Solomon Mwangwe, and the president of ISK, Abraham Samoei, to tell us how to ensure you're making the right procedures when purchasing land. Stay tuned. This is an interesting one. I'm your host, Peter Ngiki. Now, tell you about a new trend that's just taking the industry by storm. We're talking about service plots. Now, it's not all about location, location, location. Let's find out about this new concept that's in the property market with Naftali Mwangi. And welcome to Property Focus, Naf.
Thank you so much, Peter. Welcome to Hyssop Properties.
Tell us about this concept of serviced plots and who they're aimed at.
Land selling has evolved from times when people would just go and buy a whole chunk even without beacons. Later, we have got a more knowledgeable clients. The demand, the supply is higher, and so that results into better packaging. And that gave birth to serviced plots. Serviced plots is a facility, is a concept where owners of a certain project have got a shared system which is done by the developer. By that we mean a shared security system from gate to fencing, sometimes even to the security personnel, shared water facilities, shared electricity, and this has been pre-done by developers, much to package and also as a result of a more knowledgeable client.
Where would one find serviced plots?
This concept is predominantly in the urban and peri-urban areas. We are talking about a certain radius around every urban areas in the country, but it's rolling out even into our rural areas. Yes, so we're talking about maybe a radius of 100 kilometers in Nairobi, radius of 100 kilometers in Nakuru and Mombasa, where land and land selling is dominant. Okay. Yes.
So who offers these serviced plots?
Every brilliant, smart company that is looking beyond selling land will usually and purposely service their plots because you're looking at 30 to 40% of customers who buy land will buy again. There's something called repeat buying. And so you want to service, you want to give them a good piece of land for them to come into the next piece of land. So predominantly companies purposely looking forward to being in this business longer. You're not just giving land as a hit and run. Yes.
Do these sites come with any restrictions or anything of the sort?
Different areas give different restrictions. Different county governments give different restrictions. For example, there's land that will give you and you're not supposed to do a commercial building. There's a land that will service for you and you are not supposed to do multi-dwelling. So different areas have got different restrictions. Yes.
Okay. Do they cost more?
In the immediate costing, it will cost a little bit more than the unserviced plots. But at the end, the customer benefits because look at it this way. If we sold to a customer plot number A, and they're supposed to pull water for themselves, bring in electricity for themselves, grade the roads for themselves, they're going to, it's going to cost them more, on aggregate. But now when we share it, economies of scale, it means in the immediate, it might jump a little bit, but it means a benefit to a customer.
Now, can I manage to build myself or I have to involve the developer? What then happens?
If you're talking about building a house, many customers will buy and 70 to 75% will want to build for themselves. I'll tell you this. There are so many buyers in this country and People buy land for different purposes, but predominantly three reasons why people buy land. One is for value, what we call land banking. If I have some 300,000 in a bank, I would rather put it in land because statistics have shown that land always grow at minimum 20% per annum. That capital gain. So that you will not get in any bank. So 60% of Kenyans buy land for capital gain. Now, if you're looking at another group of people who buy for physical needs, that is putting a roof on their head, many of them would like to build for themselves. Smart companies, again, have come up with very many partnerships where you'll buy land from us and then we are going to get you through the financing processes and even the construction processes. Yes.
Do service plots make building easier?
Absolutely. Service plots will make building easier because look at it, when I'm supposed to ferry my materials on site, on a road that is not marrammed, it's going to cost me more. But when the roads are better, the security is better. So it means when my cement is on the ground, it's secured. So it's easier for me. Number two, because there is one wall around land, it basically means it will attract more players. So you'll realize once sold, 3 people are building at the same time. And so they'll have shared personnel, shared fundis, shared site people, and absolutely becomes cheaper.
And give us your parting shots.
The best investment on earth is earth. And in this country, as long as we are dispensing 600,000 people from our universities and tertiary colleges, land is going to grow. As long as our roads and rails networks are improving, land is going to grow. So what I'm going to encourage, especially the young people and the upcoming executives and buyers, what happens is land will appreciate more than treasury bills. Land will appreciate more than bonds. It is one of the best bargains to invest in.
We're going to take a short commercial break, but when we're back, we're going to be with land acquisition expert Solomon Wangwe on how to purchase land. Stay tuned. And welcome back from the break, and thanks for keeping it property focused. Now you want to buy land, and yes, you've heard the proverbial term due diligence, but what does it actually mean for a land buyer, and where does one start? We've got Solomon Wangwe, self-proclaimed Chief Land Scouter and CEO of Goshen Acquisitions Limited. Welcome to Property Focus, Solomon.
Thank you, thank you.
What is due diligence and what does it entail from a buyer's point of view?
First of all, thanks for the opportunity to have this conversation. Due diligence is simply the exercise of doing research on the background of a property that one is considering purchasing or buying. And that entails all sorts of things, beginning with your own land scouting exercise, which is why, as you introduced me, I'm the Chief Land Scout at Goshen Acquisitions, because we have to be sure about what we're buying or investing in so that we're sure what we're passing on to our customers is legit, as it were. But in a nutshell, that's what due diligence means, just doing your research, understanding the facts before you make a decision.
What is a search? What does it entail? And are there any additional charges when conducting a search?
Well, a search is a term that we use for obtaining specific representations from the Ministry of Lands Registries on the particular property that you're interested in buying. Before, there used to be a fee associated with this. It used to be 500 shillings for most registries. At some point, it went up to 1,000 shillings. But President Kenyatta, our president in Kenya, abolished land search fees just to make it easier for Kenyan citizens to engage in property transactions and stimulate the economy in a sense. So now searches are free. You don't have to pay for a search. In Ardhi House, Nairobi's registry, for example, it's actually done online. Anyone can get on the platform, enter the details of the property that you're looking to purchase or look into, presuming, of course, that you have access to the title document and its official references, and you can make your application for a search, and they produce a report informing you what the file at the registry says about the property, confirming its ownership, for how long, the history, if there are any charges or liens against it, let's say a bank mortgage, if there's a family dispute or an ownership dispute with some other third party, those will typically be declared in a search report. So yes, for the time being, it's free and fairly easy for anyone to do. Now, while it's free, I think it's important to say that there are associated costs. If you're not doing the search yourself, especially if you're not doing it online for Ardhi House or any number of the, I think, 5 or 7 registries that have this available online, you have to visit a registry physically.
So we've heard about the green card. What is this green card?
So the green card is quite literally a green piece of manila card in most registries. Recently I've seen different colored ones, but originally they were green manila cards specifically produced for the ministry that sits in a file at the relevant registries, and it contains a history of ownership for that property from whenever it moved from the government of Kenya to the first private owner and so on, up to date. In places like Nairobi, I've seen some contain details as far back as when the Queen of England was registered as the landowner in Kenya. And so the green card is essentially the mother source of all the information on a particular property file. Way more important than a title deed. It's something I've mentioned before, caused a bit of concern with people, but it's a fact. You know, a title deed means nothing at the end of the day if it does not agree with the details on the green card. It's the most important document in a land transaction.
Well, Solomon, give us your parting shot.
I would encourage everyone looking to invest in property in Kenya, first of all, to be very clear about their motivation or the reason that they are wanting to buy what they're looking at. You have to buy the right property for the right purposes, and make sure you follow due process at the end of the day. Do not cut any corners. Do not bribe someone to fast track something for you, because you have no idea what they're doing behind the scenes to misrepresent the facts for you. And if you do not have the time to follow this process on your own, please work with qualified professionals. And by that, I mean do not work with unlicensed brokers. It's fine to use brokers to point you in a certain direction as far as what's on the market, but do not make any decisions based on any information provided to you by a broker or an agent unless they are licensed, because that means there's accountability. Always work with the actual property owner, and as much as possible, make sure you work with licensed advocates of the High Court of Kenya to help you with the due diligence process. Specifically, work with advocates who specialize in what we call conveyancing, and that has to do with all things around property transactions, because they know what loopholes to look out for, and if something does go south at the end of the day, you can hold them accountable because they are licensed and they have to be accountable to their licensing body.
Well, thank you very much, Solomon. Glad to have had you on the show.
Most welcome. Thank you for having me.
Have you ever thought of owning a home at the Kenyan coast? What if we told you you could? Pazuri at Vipingo is a master-planned holiday and residential estate strategically located in Vipingo off the Mombasa-Malindi Highway. The estate consists of 372 affordable and luxurious units with a choice of 2, 3 and 4-bedroom villas, and residents enjoy easy access to the amenities of the adjacent world-class Vipingo Ridge. Pazuri at Vipingo is ideal for holiday makers, investors, diplomats and homeowners.
Own a prime plot in Greenstead, Nakuru, an exclusive urban estate along Nairobi-Nakuru Highway, where nature meets tranquility. Text Nakuru to 21404. Hyssop Properties, a culture of trust.
Now, of course, we had to get the president himself for the Institute of Surveyors in Kenya to demystify to us, what then do you do if you've purchased land and it's fraudulent? Let's find out about the procedures from the president himself, Abraham Samoei, in just a bit. And welcome to Property Focus, Abraham.
Thank you, Fita, for having me today.
Please tell us about yourself and your role at the ISK.
I'm the president of the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, a professional group that brings together valuers, land surveyors, estate managers, estate agents, and all other professionals in the land sector.
Now, speaking of agents, how do you tell whether you're dealing with a professional land agent?
Estate agents are registered under the Estate Agents Act. Okay. So the first thing as a prospective client or buyer is to ask the person you're dealing with, are they registered with the Estate Agents Registration Board? Okay. They would have an annual license that they will be able to show you. Anybody who doesn't have a license is conducting business illegally. Okay. And it's an offense under the Act to conduct business of estate agency without a valid license.
Okay. Now, let's look at buying. Where does one begin?
Of course, when you want to purchase land, you would have to identify which areas you would want to buy land. Location. Okay. To the budget that you have. The budget, of course, determines the location where you would want to buy land. Absolutely. And the user that you would want, or the project you would want to put up on the land. As you are aware, land is, through planning, there's restriction on what you can do with the land. Okay. So look at what you want to use the land, the budget you have, and when you have those three items, you would now engage an estate agent to find you the most suitable land at the price point that you have. And through their professional work, they're able to get you the best deal possible in the market. Okay. Yes.
Now, speaking about chasing deals, many people get caught up in fraudulent cases. What's your take on that?
Yes, there's a lot of fraud in the land sector, as has been reported in the mainstream media. And this mainly arises because of how we've been managing land records. Yes. The transparency in the land sector has been quite low if you compare to how other records are kept in government. So as the registries are being digitized, you would see cases of fraud lessening by a big percentage. Okay. Secondly, the use of non-qualified people who are not accountable. The estate agents are registered under an act, and they are accountable for their actions. And being members of a professional organization such as ISK, we are also able to hold them to account for their actions in the marketplace. So I think it's a contribution of using non-qualified people or unlicensed people, and also the manner in which we keep land records that is prone to manipulation and fraud. Okay. Yes.
What should somebody do in such a case?
If you purchase land and you find that there's an issue, one, it depends on what the issue is. If it's just ensuring that the records are straight, you would approach the registrar's office to ensure that you get proper records and updated. Number two, if you suspect that there's a case of fraud, you would now approach the government authorities who would investigate and bring the people who are selling you the land to account. That's why we are encouraging that before you transact in land, get the requisite professionals who will guide you, because you will be able to pick out those issues that may have that may affect your title. True. Yes.
What is the ministry doing towards just mitigating some of these cases?
One is to ensure you use a credible agent who would be able to do due diligence on the parcel of land. A title is not just a piece of paper that you see, but you have to see the steps on which the title was obtained. And the second one is ensuring that you visit a site to confirm the property that you want to buy. Yes. You are minimizing cases of fraud by a big percentage by being able to go to site and identify the parcel of land and get to know who is there, who may have an interest, if there are any squatters or anything. Those can only be confirmed by site visit. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Give us your parting shots.
Purchasing land, you have to go to site to confirm. Yeah. Two, use a professional who will guide you in the entire process. That way you are able to get the best deal for your money and you are secure in your investment.
Excellent. There you have it. Wonderful. We never like to say goodbye, but unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end. If you want to advertise your property or have more experts come and discuss more topics on property-related matters, reach out to us on our social media pages. That's Property Focus on Facebook and Property_Focus_ on Instagram, and we'll be more than happy to have these guests on here for you. I've been your host, Peter Ngigi. Thank you for tuning on to the Property Focus Show.